Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery, and today I am going to show you how to do backstitch. So I'm going to do this on my little sampler project. If you want to just have a go at black stitch, you can just watch the video for that reason only. If you want to stitch along with me, have a go at this sampler. I'll put this video up here. This is the first one, and this tells you about the project and how I set it up, and it's got the first stitch on there, running stitch. So let's have a look at what we've got so far. So we've had a go at running stitch. As I've said, we did seeding in the last video, so do check out the playlist for these stitches for this stitch sampler if you want to see this seeding, 6 different kinds of seeding, 6 ways to do it, which is a really nice versatile stitch. But today we are going to look at this one here, and this is a back stitch. So this is a really good stitch if you just want to make a solid line, you want quite a fine line. You can go round curves with it, or you can do it straight, so it's great for outlines. It's great for lettering as well, so again a really versatile stitch, and it's just made up of little straight stitches just like we did with the running stitch and the seeding, so it is a super easy stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to show you again in the perlé thread. So this is the thread that we did the seeding stitch in. I did the running stitch in stranded, so I'll just swap the threads up every now and again, just try some different threads and talk about how to use those. So this is a perlé number 8. This is a variegated thread, so the colour changes throughout the thread. Do check out our video on variegated threads if you want to know all about those and how to use them. And I'm going to do fingertip to inside of elbow, good length for this. And I'm using it in a chenille number 24 needle, so it's got a long thin eye and a point on the end. I'm just going to thread that up, tie my knots in the end. Do check out the seeding video if you want to see a close-up of how to do that. And I'm going to work my running stitch, my back stitch, along here and down here. So I've just applied a couple more pieces. If you're doing the sort of slow stitch sampler project with me, I've applied a couple more pieces and I'm going to work over that. Choose wherever you want to work in your design. In the one that's in the frame, if you don't want to do the slow stitch method, you want to do it in the frame, I've just gone right down the middle of one of the pieces I've applied, so you can put it wherever you want it. You're just going to have fun with learning the stitch and doing the stitch and not worrying about the design and whether it's right or wrong. And I'm just going to show you a different method for starting. So before I've put a knot in the end and we've hidden the end under here, which is great for slow stitching, but if you want to do a different method, we can do that now because we're going to cover it up. So whereas I did the running stitch and the seeding, there were some spaces in it, and that's a little bit harder. But for this one, I'm going to try this waist knot method. So my little knot goes on the top and that will get cut off. And then what I'm going to do is 2 tiny little stab stitches, straight up and straight back down, smaller than that if I can. Tiny little ones, you just want to get a couple of threads. And then we're going to stitch over the top of those. Now those 2 stitches will hold the thread in place when we cut that knot off, but I'm going to do a bit of stitching over it first. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to take a straight stitch, so about the same length as we did that running stitch. And what I'm going to do now is come up ahead of myself, ignore the little stitches, just stitch straight over them. And then I'm going to take my needle back down at the end of that previous stitch. And if you saw the seeding video, you will have seen that we did that with some of the seeding stitches. If your needle is, if your thread is sharing a hole, you've got the thread going down the same hole from 2 different directions, then try and take the needle down in the hole, don't come up in the hole. That's a much neater way of doing it. So I'm going to try and keep those a consistent length and in a straight line if I can. So I've done a few, so let's zoom in and look a little bit closer at that. Once you get near to the knot, you can actually cut that off. Those 2 little stitches are holding the thread. We stitched over it as well, so that adds some extra strength, so we can cut that knot off. So there are no knots at all on it now. This is a method I really like for lots of different embroidery techniques. I don't really use it for slow stitching because it just lends itself better to maybe more formal techniques, if you want to put it like that. But I did want to show you it because I think it is a good one to learn. And once I get past the pattern on here, you'll be able to see it a little bit more clearly what I'm doing with my stitch. So up ahead of myself, straight up with the needle, needle goes back down in the same hole where that last thread went down. It's sharing the hole. We're joining that row of stitches up, so it's kind of like a joined up running stitch, if you like. Straight back down. So a nice simple stitch, but just concentrate on getting them the same length. Try and keep it a straight line if you want. If you want to draw a curve or draw around something circular on your sampler and try that, you can. You've got a line to stick to then, because it does do beautiful curves, this stitch, and you can do them a little bit shorter if you've got a tighter curve, a smaller circle. It's getting a bit stormy outside. So I'm just going to go to the corner and show you how to get round the corner. So I stitch straight up to the corner and I want to turn now. So you just carry on in exactly the same way. I'm going to come ahead of myself, but now I'm coming along that edge there and back into that hole there, and you'll get a really nice sharp corner with this stitch. So if you want that in your design that you're stitching, this is a good one. Some stitches overlap and they're quite hard to turn, but back stitch, really nice one to turn a nice sharp corner. You can see that there. And then I'll just do a couple more, and then I want to show you how to finish off the thread, and we will have a look at the back. I did say look at the back on the the video on the seeding, and I forgot, so I'll show you the back now. So let's just do one more and then I'll show you that. So I'm going to turn my piece of embroidery over, and you'll see what it does on the back with the back stitch. So it kind of overlaps because we're coming ahead and back, and then we go ahead again and back. You get a kind of crossing over on the back, so you get a bit of a thicker row of stitching on the back and the front. It's absolutely fine though, and if you just see how sort of neat that comes, and it's not about having the back looking the same as the front. We have a whole video on that subject if you're interested about why the back should be neat. And I'll just give you a little hint now, and it's just to stop your threads coming undone, and no surprise knots or surprise loops or anything like that. It's just secure really. It's not that the back has to look like the front. It's just about keeping your threads nice and secure. So to finish it, you can just either wind that under a few of the threads, or you can just pick a bit of the backing fabric up and go a couple of times over that. Just make sure you don't pick the front fabric up as well, just the back, and just go underneath the stitches, and that will just secure that end, and we can cut that off, and that means that's not going to come undone. That's nice and secure. I'll just show you the back of the running stitch as well. Looks similar to it does on the front. This is the back of the seeding. So this is the little shapes that we did, the V shapes and the zigzags. You don't want to jump too far with this, so this sort of length stitch is fine, but don't jump from here to here with a stitch, because you'll get a big long thread on the back, and then that could break and then not come undone on the front. And then that's the single seeding and the double seeding, so just nice neat stitches on the back, nice and close together so you don't break the threads. So let's just look at that from the front. So a really nice simple stitch to learn, still based on a single stitch, just like the running stitch and the seeding stitch. We're just putting them together now. A really good one to learn, especially if you want to do lettering. We might have a little look at that in another video as well on how to do that. And I just also want to tell you about the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group specifically for my my YouTube channel. So we've got Sarah Homfray Embroidery Facebook community. I'll put a link to that in the description below this video. Do join in that and share your samples and your stitches with us. You can share anything you like. It's not just for this project, but do join us on there. We've got a great community growing already, lots of chat going on, and lots of inspiration to see other people's work. And if you want to know how to do the running stitch and the seeding stitches and how to set up a sampler like this, you can check out this playlist up here. This is the playlist for all of this stitch sampler project, so do go and check that out. Give this a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.